today we are going to be talking about sampling. I'm going to be using Renoise just to show you how to make a beat using sampling, but you can use any program you want. I prefer Renoise for just the way things are set up here. So don't be intimidated by the fact this is probably a program you're not using. So sampling, there are two methods. And so sampling is just when you take a recording that exists and you use it for your own purposes to make your own music. It could be a recording of a single kick drum all the way to the recording of an entire track. Typically, hip hop sampling is entire tracks and you take pieces of that track and form a new song. Maybe you find a little 4-second loop that you think is just the greatest thing looped over and over and over. And so you decide to make an entire song based off this 4-second loop. And then you add in your own drums and your own vocals. And maybe you have, you add in a bass or something. You know, there's a lot of tricks to sort of sampling. Maybe you low pass it or high pass it and then add in the bass, whatever it is you're going to do. I'm going to show you, so there are two main methods. I'm going to show you one of them. The first method that I'm not going to show you, I'll just really quick tell you what it is you take the sample source, so whatever it is you want to turn into something like a new song, and then you chop it up and play it back in a new order. You take bits and pieces of it that you think are cool, and then you play it back in a new order. And if you ever look at like Mad Zach on, I believe it's DJ Tech Tools, he has some where he's just going to town on some pads that are triggering back samples. And that's a really good example of that. And the second type of sampling, the one I'm going to show you here, is when you take a sound that you think is cool and you pitch it up and down to basically turn it into an instrument. Now, you may also be wondering, where do I get cool sounds to sample? And the answer is just pick a song you think is cool and has sampling potential. You'll eventually get an ear for it, but you can pretty much take anything and you can twist it up some way to make a cool song out of it. So my challenge to you is just find a song you think has sampling potential and then make a beat out of it. Now, you may run into copyright issues. I'm not going to help you there. That's all on you. But because technically it's illegal to use anything that you don't own. But putting all the copyright issues aside, we're just going to go ahead and hop into sampling. So I thought I had this like religious song. And one thing I like to do is just take songs and chop them up and see what I can get out of them, right? And so this one had some cool orchestral elements. You'll probably find yourself going for older stuff, like older orchestral tracks or just straight up orchestral tracks. Hip hop, usually sometimes there's old disco in there. There could be old opera. You know, you could have any number of things. You could take anything and really sample it. Like you could find a cool use for it. So as you see here, I've got some strings. There's like oboe. I also have some vocals in here, like the word deepest, darkest. Deepest, darkest night. So you can get like crazy, and sometimes it can take quite a while to find something that really grooves. Other times you find it immediately and away you go. So let's go ahead and first, I've already synced up a drum loop. So this is synced up to play in tempo. It sounds like this, and I'm just using this as a bed to play around with these samples on. So we talked about the 5 major, it'll go all the way to the bottom synced up, but we talked about the 5 major elements of a beat or song. And when you sample, it's going to determine things like your rhythm, your sound. It's going to determine a lot depending on the sample. So you often don't need to get super complicated. You can. Some people will go through and look for those perfect little loops that will work well with other loops, and then they'll stack them up to form something like a new song. You can go about it that way. There's just loads of ways. So we're going to keep it simple. I selected this sample high. It's just the girl saying hi. And so if I take myself out of edit mode, that's the sound. And you're probably very used to these sorts of this pitched up version. So you're probably used to that. Now we have those strings in there. I could try and edit those out. But let's go ahead and just toss on a simple little riff. Maybe something that goes like. Let's just do like hi. Let's see here. You go hi. And this is a delay. I don't want a delay, so just ignore that. So let's say that I just am going to keep it simple right now and do that. And here we go. So this is my riff. Maybe add some reverb. Some reverb would work well with this particular one. And then we could add in some strings and add in a bass and get crazy. So I also have this piano line. So let's turn that off for now. And let's go at it with the piano line. So let's add in a. And so this is like piano. What is this? 13. So I thought this one was pretty cool. So you see, you can hear the singer's breath in there too. See, that's pretty cool. And so sometimes these just come to you really simply. Maybe you don't like the decisions I'm making. Maybe you are vibing something else. That's cool too. Just do whatever floats your boat. So, you know, you EQ it, you get things to sound the way you want. But you see, that's like pretty jiving thing. Now, it probably won't work with high. Let's find out. Yeah, because then now this is the problem you may come into is there's so much going on in one clip that it doesn't make it's got to be your main focus. And then you're going to use smaller elements to support that main focus. This one, so this will work by itself. And this actually has room for some more support. So we could like say, let's say, oh, let's add in a bass here. And so let's go into our samples. I'm going to add a bass, and I'm going to use just a simple sine wave bass. So pay no attention to all the extra buttons I'm pushing. And it's, okay, so I basically have a sine tone bass now. And B flat. And then here we could put a little pitch bend down. That'd be kind of cool. And then we could add in a little upbeat hi-hat. So you see, the sampling is just like, it decides so much of your sound that it gives you a really good thing to just work off of. So let's go to samples. Let's grab just a simple hat. Shakers, stabs, cymbals, closed hat. Maybe we can get something out of that. And we'll go home. We'll pick Control 4 to skip 4 lines. Oh, don't want that. Maybe 1 octave higher. And instead of doing that, let's do every 8. So we'll do there. We'll do 8. And then we may also consider embellishing the kick and the drums a lot. Like we could do a lot with the drums. But let's just rock with this right now. So let's just add in a EQ. You can't see I'm typing in effects right now, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. What I might do actually with I really like to do with these sorts of things is send them into a parallel mixing chain and then put a transient master and really accentuate the transients and then mix it in. That sounds really cool because just boosting crap right here is just basically a volume increase. So that's sort of stupid. That's a dumb mixing move, but I like it achieves an effect a different way, I suppose. But anyways, you get the idea. So we've taken here, we have taken our original sample and just the way we've gone. And if we have something like vocals and stuff, this would then be the basis and we would have to work from there. So we turn that off and turn that on. So let's say, oh, I'm not feeling this high sample. Let's try a different one. So let's come in here. Let's try a string sample. So let's see how that works. And so here, this is probably not going to vibe very well here. So let's go to a new track. Let's try a lower sample. Oh, I've also still got that same. Here we go. Sounds like an elevator. Come down. Whoops. And we have this bass in here too, so this could be like fogging it up. I might have to change the bass around, but and then we could try and layer it with this one, and away you go. You know, we get a whole bunch of cool ideas. But you see, it doesn't take a lot to get something really cool out just from a single sample. Like I thought the piano sound we had here was really cool. Turn off track 6. But, you know, whatever floats your boat once again. If you have any questions about this, let me know. Share what you made and perhaps even where you got your sample. Unless you're like sketched out by someone discovering it, then don't. But yeah, if you have any questions, again, let me know. Subscribe and have a blessed day.
But by non-participation in anything you believe is evil.
There is only one real peace now, and that is peace for all time.
The confrontation was not created by the police. The confrontation was created by the people who charged the police.